Welcome back to the Opportunity Room, the show where we sit down with true leaders, change makers, people who are turning ambition into actions. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Emmanuel Burgess, a cloud transformation leader, DevOps strategist, and educator. Emmanuel has held pivotal roles at Google, GitHub, Contino, and CloudReach, where he led cloud innovation, infrastructure automation, and customer success at global scale. He's also the CEO and founder of Cloud After Dark, a company dedicated in helping professionals learn and grow in the world of cloud. Beyond his technical expertise, Emmanuel is passionate about evangelism, leadership, and mentoring the next generation in STEM. Let's dive in and learn about his journey. Welcome, my friend Emmanuel Burgess, in the Opportunity Room.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Today is very special for me because this is episode 10, and me and Emmanuel have some back stories that we're going to talk about how we met and all that stuff. So this is a very special moment for me. So let's just start in the beginning, man. What drew you? Just start by telling us where you're from, and we start from there.
Yeah, so I'm from a little town in South Carolina called Sumter, South Carolina. It's about 35 minutes south of Columbia. So I grew up there, and in 2004, when I went off to college, I moved to Atlanta, and so I've been in Atlanta ever since 2004.
So what triggered that move? Why you decided, to move in Atlanta, Georgia? There are so many other cities, in tech or whatever. Why you chose Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah, so Atlanta is about 4 hours where I'm from, and so I knew that it was an up and coming tech hub, and it was a big city, right? I'm from a little small town. We got a couple stoplights. That's it. And so moving to Atlanta was on my list because also we have a thriving Black community here, and I wanted to be a part of that community, and so that's what led me to Atlanta.
So from what I hear, you already set your mind to uh, going into a city where tech was a big thing. So is tech always been part of who you are?
Yeah, tech has always been a part of who I am. I mean, it's one part of who I am, but the majority of my life, I've been in tech. My dad was a science teacher, and so he kind of got me into tech. And then in high school, I took a program at this place called Career Center, where you would go and you would go to school half the day, and then do your trade the other half of the day. And so from there, I started like a computer repair business back at home because I couldn't find a job. Well, I mean, I had a job. Like I'm a musician as well, so I was doing music. However, I couldn't find like a 9 to 5 job, and so I created my own business out of necessity
Right.
because I couldn't find a job where I was from, and so tech has always been a part of my life.
All right, great, great. So in 2004, you decided to move to Atlanta. And what was your first job when you came to Atlanta?
Man, when I got to Atlanta, I was in college, so I went to DeVry.
Okay,
And so my first job was at UPS. I was loading the trucks at night
okay,
at UPS. Yeah.
all right. So then you did what? You did an associate degree or bachelor. What did you get out of DeVry?
Uh, so DeVry got my associate's degree.
Okay,
And so I got my associate's degree in networking systems administration.
okay.
Yeah.
Did that help you land a job right after that?
I think it helped. So after I left UPS, and after I like kind of transitioned out of college, I worked at a help desk company downtown Atlanta called IntelliTeach.
Okay.
And I worked there for a couple years.
All right, good, good. So did your background in tech help you land that job, or was it the training that you received at DeVry?
No, I think it was a combination of both.
Okay.
It was a startup company, and they actually eventually sold the company. But it being a startup company, there was a lot of flexibility, and so I guess they were just looking for young people that were hungry. Like the pay wasn't great at all, but it was my first foray in official tech, and it kind of opened the doors for me. So yeah.
All right. So after Intel, I would guess that you went to AT&T after that, right?
Yeah, so after that, yeah, I got hired on at AT&T. I think I started AT&T in 2009, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And so when I went to AT&T, I started in the mobility department. So my job was to troubleshoot cell phones and connectivity problems. And then, I got my associates at Divine Networking, and so I moved over to network engineering.
Okay.
And then I stayed there for like a year, and then AT&T was building their own cloud. So they had these data centers that they were no longer using, and they wanted to do something similar to Amazon to allow or build services in these data centers and allow connectivity to these data centers. And so that's how I got introduced into this whole world of cloud. Yeah.
All right. Tell us about a little bit about that experience at AT&T, because I know you and I work at AT&T together, and I'm glad that we met because you changed my perspective after that because you were the first that actually figured about this whole cloud thing. And although we had our own version of cloud, like you mentioned at AT&T, but the other four, the major cloud providers, the public ones, Google, Microsoft, and GCP, Amazon was different ball game. So how was that early experience at touching cloud at AT&T shape your decision making into venturing into cloud in general?
Yeah, so it was different from like the troubleshooting and the help desk things I was doing before. And so it kind of intrigued me. And so when I first started in the cloud space, I wanted to get my CCNA, and we talked about that. So I got my CCENT, I think it's called, or CCENT.
Right.
And then I was like, man, I want to go ahead and get my CCNA because back then it was two separate tests. But I kind of pivoted and I wanted to get officially certified in cloud. So I went and got my AWS Solutions Architect Associate certification. But cloud really opened my mind up to the future because at the time, cloud was the future.
Right.
And it transcended everything that we were doing. And so I was excited about it. So I kind of wanted to ride the wave of that. And so I dug deep. And yeah, so yeah, it just kind of changed my perspective of tech.
All right. Now I want from people, that are actually trying to figure it out and just trying to see if cloud is the best fit for them. What are some of the skill set that are needed, right, in order for them to just move from a regular, just non-technical or just a technical doing help desk or somewhere in tech space and just moving into cloud? What are some of the foundational skill set that are needed to actually be successful at cloud?
Yeah, I think if you're going to go into anything, I think you need a healthy amount of curiosity, right?
Right.
And so cloud is a technology that's always evolving. Like if you look at AWS, they have like over 100 services, right? And
Right.
so if you get in a company and you're working in cloud, you need to be flexible. You need to have good troubleshooting skills. And you also, and I think this is a big part, you need to understand how you learn, right? Because the velocity at which cloud is evolving, and now you introduce AI, you're going to have to learn stuff at a high velocity. So understanding the way that you learn, I think, is paramount to being successful
Right.
in any space, but more so the cloud space and the AI space.
Yeah. So can you break it down? Just what are the skill set needed to actually like what other than doing that cert, right? Was that cert good enough for you to land a job and be comfortable, or you had to continue learning to be very comfortable and to become, I guess, a DevOps engineer after that?
Yeah, no, so I had to continue learning, and then I had to merge it with some of the skills that I had. So Linux, right?
Right.
So it's pretty much a platform of choice. So I had to understand how to move around the Linux operating system, how to troubleshoot within the operating system. And then I had some VMware experience, right? So virtualization experience. So that helped when I was trying to learn about EC2s, which are virtual machines within AWS. Also, Terraform was big too, so I had to learn Terraform. Terraform is a tool for infrastructure as code, and
Right.
so it allows you to use API calls to build resources in the in a cloud provider of your choice without having to go into the console. And so then that kind of leads into automation. So um, because I knew Linux, I picked up Bash really quickly, and so when I needed to automate, that was a programming language that I used. So those are some of the skills initially that I kind of use to kind of get into the cloud space.
Now, can you break it down for those people who don't know what API is, right? So, because I guess some of my audience, they're not too technical, and they do have some curiosity about tech, but they don't, they hear you mention API. Can you kind of explain to them what's the value of API and how we leverage API?
Yeah, so API is application programming interface, and it allows two computers to talk to each other, right? So if I have a software application and then I want this software application to talk to another software application, there's a set of rules that they need to follow in order to communicate, right? And so the API is the interface for one piece of software to talk to another piece of software.
All right. So it's kind of like, for instance, if I wanted to leverage a weather app, I can just have a application that's already built out and that's just giving weather information and just plug in my API there and just be able to retrieve that information, something like that, right?
Right. So maybe I'm using Python and maybe I'm using the request library in Python. The
Right.
request library in Python allows you to make API calls to certain other services, right? And so maybe I want to pull data from a weather API, right? Or a weather service, right?
Right.
I would need to know about the API, understand how the API works in
Okay.
order for me to use Python to make a request to that API and to pull data from that weather service.
All right. Great. So you started working at AT&T, I guess. Then after AT&T, you become a DevOps engineer, right? So, how long did it take you to master being a DevOps? Are you still in the DevOps space, or where are you? What was that transition like?
I don't know about master, but I worked in the DevOps space for several numbers of years, right? So when I left AT&T, I went to this consulting firm called CloudReach,
Right.
and so that was amazing for me, right? It allowed me to see cloud at a larger scale, and so as a consultant, um, it's a tougher job, but you learn more quicker, right? Because you're working with different clients and these different clients implement cloud in different ways. And so
Right.
you kind of build up your skill set a lot faster because you're going into these companies, helping them make a digital transformation, and they
Right.
can be using any number of tools. And so, yeah, you learn these tools, and it helps you grow quicker. And so, DevOps has been good for me. I've been in the space probably for about 8 years, but I transitioned out of DevOps when I started at Google.
Yeah, and to add some more context in that, me and Emmanuel worked at that Cloudreach together, and he was the actually the first one to land that job and was able to pull me in, and I'm forever grateful for him because that completely changed the trajectory of my life. And today I'm doing cybersecurity, but that foundation in cloud is something that I still carry in my day to day work. So now tell us, like, you've started from support, to DevOps, and to customer success and evangelism. How do you define your professional identity today?
Um, the way that I define what I do now is simple. I just help people adopt cloud services, right? Whether you're talking about AI or whether you're talking about services within Google Cloud or AWS or Azure, my job is to help people adopt these cloud services easier. So how do I remove the friction? How do I take away the pain points? How do I make these APIs or these services in like GitHub or Google Cloud better and easier for the developer to use? And so mainly my customer is the developer, and they want to consume these services. And how do I help them do that and do it easier and reduce the friction between the service and what they're trying to do?
Nice. Now I'm going to take you back a little bit in because a lot of people like myself are dreaming about working for Google and Microsoft, and you seem to be able to just ease your way out in those big corporations easily. So, tell us your journey. Like, how many round of interview? How difficult was it for you to break into Google?
Yeah, so Google was pretty difficult. I think I had about maybe 7 or 8 interviews.
Okay.
Um, yep, and then one day I had like maybe 5 interviews in one day, right? So That was a lot. Uh, I got into GitHub, which is owned by Microsoft. That was maybe like 5 interviews. And so, but man, really, I'm really here by the grace of God. Like, of course, I work hard, right? But I also understand that you're really blessed to get in some of these positions at some of these larger companies, and it's not easy. Like, if you look at a Google or something, like only 1% of the people I've heard like actually get an interview, and a small number of them actually get an offer, right? So to be among the people who worked there for several numbers of years and then moved to another large company, I'm truly blessed, and so I'm thankful for that.
Now, in like you mentioned 5 round interview and you said Microsoft, how many again for Microsoft?
Now, I think Microsoft was like 5. I think Google was like maybe 8 or 9.
Okay, so are those 5 round interviews, are they all technical, or what type of interview are all those? Can you break us down?
Yeah, so usually when you apply for, and I think this is most roles, right? The first couple interviews, or the first interview would be with like the recruiter. And so you'll talk to the recruiter, you'll kind of get to know them, they'll get to know you. They want to know your background to see if you're a good fit. And then, for me, when I was, going for Google, after the recruiter, I talked to like the manager of the group that I would be working for. And then after I talked to the manager, I talked to like a IC or individual contributor, right? A senior person on the team. And then from there, I had another interview, and this was the technical part, right? So then I had one technical round of interview, and then I had a day, and I had like maybe 5 or 6 interviews in one day. And so from like maybe 9 a.m. to like maybe 6 or maybe 6 p.m., I just had interviews back to back to back, and those were like, make sure you're a good cultural fit. Then I had to build a presentation or a project, and then I had to present the project. Then I had some coding and programming questions.
Okay,
And then I had a question on a technology, or I had questions on a technology of my choice.
right.
And so I was assessed on those levels within that, multi-day interview.
Interesting. So currently you are at Microsoft right now.
Yeah, I'm at GitHub right now. Yep.
Okay, so GitHub is Microsoft, right? It's owned
Yeah.
by
Well, yeah.
Microsoft.
Microsoft owns GitHub.
All right. So now, what are you currently doing? You still doing DevOps, or what's your current role at GitHub right now?
Right. So at GitHub, I'm a customer success architect, right? So when I was at Google, I was no longer doing DevOps, but I was um, what was my developer advocate, right?
Right.
And so customer success and developer advocacy has a lot of overlap. But basically, my thing is, once again, how do I help the developer consume these services easier? And so that's my job.
Okay. So is there a difference between what you used to do at Google as far as helping these developers, or it's pretty much just the same? It's just helping them consume the APIs.
Yeah, it's very similar, right? And so my day to day looks like, I talk to a customer, maybe they have questions about specific services or specific APIs. So I answer those questions, and then how do I help them adopt these services, right? So one of the main things that I do now, I give presentation on how do you integrate this technology into your current workflow, right? How does that look? How do I integrate AI into what I do? Because Microsoft has Copilot. How do I introduce that into what they do? And so, other than presentations, I also build demos or technical demos as well. But once again, my heart is with the developers, and I love helping people. So, really, I look at my job as an extension of what I do. And so they say, if you love your job, you really never work a day in your life. And so I just feel blessed to be in a position where I can help people in a domain that I love, which is technology.
All right. So you've driven up obviously cloud transformation for enterprises, and what do you see as the biggest mistake organization make when they move into the cloud?
Uh, the and so these are my all my own opinions. Let me say
Right.
that. So, um, but the biggest mistake I see companies make when trying to make any type of digital transformation, whether in the cloud or adopting tools, um, is it's usually not a technology problem. It's usually a mindset problem. So if you're shifting the way that you work, you also have to shift the culture around the way that you work. And so a lot of times, especially during consulting, I would see people who would want to do like this, companies that would want to do this digital transformation, but maybe everybody wasn't on board, or maybe the process didn't evolve. The processes didn't evolve with the technological changes that they were making. And so usually that's the hard part. And sometimes it's hard to get people to buy into new technologies and new processes, right? So
Right.
how do we help these people make a digital transformation, but it's also requires a mental transformation? How do we transform the way that we interact and look at these tools and create a culture around the technologies that we're adopting that works for everybody?
Okay. All right. So now I know in the past when we were getting into cloud, cloud was very at a very early stage, right? Do you think that today cloud is still at an early stage, or it has matured in just something that people can just embrace, and just are they still learning curve, or is there still room for growth in the cloud space, or is just you know fixing to get its full maturity? What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely think cloud is easier to consume today than it was when we first started, right? You have services like the biggest cloud provider right now is AWS, right? It's easy to start an AWS account for free. You just sign up with your credit card, and then they give you these credits, and you can just immediately go play with whatever you want to, right? So it's easy. Like the barrier of entry is lower. Um, but then I think it depends because you have different clouds are better at different things, right? But I think cloud as a whole, um, I mean, I just think it's at a state where, first of all, it's easy to adopt, but then when you add the AI piece on it, um, it makes it, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes cloud, um, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes it more standard, right? So, but like back in the day we started, it was like, man, you got to learn cloud, you got to learn cloud, you got to learn cloud. Now I
Right,
think learning cloud or knowing cloud is a given right now, right?
right.
So you have to know cloud in order to be able to consume some of these AI services. And I think right now cloud is more foundational than it was before because you're going beyond just these services like storage and compute and networking, right? Now you're adding this AI component on top of that. And so I think um, cloud is evolving as AI evolves.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your expertise in Terraform, Kubernetes, automation, and whatnot. So, what is your philosophy when it comes to infrastructure as a code?
What do you mean by philosophy?
Right, like because people are just talking about automation every day, automate. Do you think that automation is necessary in all areas of life, or in just some areas?
I think as we evolve, even as a human race, right, we want to maximize our time. And I think when you look at automation, automation is one of those tools that you can use to maximize your time. And if we're in the DevOps realm, right, the more you automate, the more you save the company, right? Because the more time you can focus on other projects, and in turn it saves the company money. So I definitely think automation is important. I think automation really helps an organization by freeing up the developers or whoever is consuming the automation so they can focus on other needs of the business um, and increase the velocity on the software that they're working on.
But I understand that they're saying that well, it just increase efficiency and people can focus on the more important tasks and just automate everything that can be automated. But at this rate, right, people are not catching up to the speed. That velocity of people is it doesn't they don't move as fast as the transformation of the AI and cloud and things like that. And people are just losing their jobs. Don't you think that we need to slow down this automation at some point?
Um, I think that first of all, I don't know why you give me this question. You kind of put me in a hard situation, but no, I think this goes back to my point earlier, like
Right,
understanding how you learn, right? I think if you're in IT, it's high velocity, right? Especially if you talk about cloud and AI. And
Right,
so you're going to have to be able to adapt. You're going to have to be able to learn. And so going back to what I said before, understanding how you learn is paramount, right?
right.
And so even me, like I'm up at night learning different skills, right? I've been in the game for a while, but I know that I have to evolve with the technology. And so um, it's moving at a blistering pace. I will say that, but I think if you want to stay relevant, you definitely have to be able to learn new skills quickly in this space.
All right. Now let's switch a little bit because I've been giving you a hard time with these tough questions, man.
Yeah, man. What's up, man? Come on, bro. Come on,
Let's switch
man.
a little bit to Cloud After Dark and the genesis of Cloud After Dark. How did that idea came about? Obviously, you're very busy. You've been busy, working in this major corporation. I'm sure that how did you find time and where did that idea came about?
Yeah. So Cloud After Dark came from me leaving AT&T, and so whether you know it or not, you were my first student with Cloud After Dark because I remember when we would study together,
Right,
and I remember you would take your exam and I took my exam. But Cloud After Dark came from the need of me trying to learn cloud, and it was hard for me to grasp the content, partly because I wasn't learning from people who looked like me.
right,
And so I wanted more diversity in the training of. Um, in the training space as it relates to cloud. And so, once I left AT&T, you were one of the people hitting up my phone like, "Hey man, what'd you do? How'd you do it? Blah blah
right,
blah."
right,
And so that kind of led into me teaching people who I used to work with cloud, and then that kind of evolved to me creating like a free group for um, mostly people, everybody, but mostly people of color.
right,
And so I did that because when I started my first cloud job, um, I was the only one, and then you came in, right? But I was
right,
the only one, uh, and I looked around, I ain't see nobody who looked like me, and I was like,
right,
man, this is such a great opportunity. Like, how do I open the door for more people in the community to get here? Because that the more diverse your IT program is, the better tools and software you'll build because you have different perspectives. And I wanted more of my perspective in these organizations that was doing cloud. And so, yeah, Cloud After Dark just came from me wanting to help people who look like me that weren't in these spaces of high level tech, and I wanted to kind of bring everybody in, and that's kind of how I started Cloud After Dark.
great, great. So you're saying that I'm glad I found out I was one of your first
Yeah, come
students.
on, yeah, man,
But yeah,
student
I
zero, yeah.
man. Yeah. So you when you created that free group, did you start teaching people for free, or how did that evolve? Like, just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I didn't know how good I was at it. Like I knew I had a passion for helping people, but I
Right.
didn't want to help people and charge them if I didn't have a high quality product to give them, right? So when I first started, man, I was really doing it for free. I just wanted to help people, um, and that kind of evolved into Cloud After Dark as it is today. But when I initially started, it was just free. So we had groups who would have study sessions, and through that process, I kind of learned like what worked, what didn't work. I kind of knew the market well because there wasn't really a great learning platform, and that kind of created a space for Cloud After Dark. And then once everybody got certified, everybody got jobs. And I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Let me see if I can monetize this. And we still have free components to what we do, but there is a monetization piece to what we do now, and it's worked for us. So
So how
yeah.
long is the program? Usually, how many different programs do you have, or what the product look like?
Well, so we're unique in that we can meet people where they are, right? And so this kind of lends to my consulting background, right? So my job used to be how do we go into these companies and help them make these digital transformations? And so I took what I knew and embedded it into my business. So right now we have like a 16-week boot camp where you'll learn like Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Linux, Kubernetes, um, all the DevOpsy type cloud stuff, right? But then we have very ad hoc programs specific to the technology that you want to learn, right? So maybe you're at a job and you're working on this project and you're stuck, or maybe you want to build your skill in this area, right? We offer those services as well. So we have multiple products, and we're really flexible. And so the name Cloud After Dark kind of means that after my 9 to 5,
Right.
we help people, and it's not just me. Like I have people in all time zones, but
Right.
yeah, we're very flexible, and we have multiple products.
Yeah. Tell us some of the success story you had so far with the craft door.
Yeah, so I don't want to get into too much detail for different reasons, but
Right.
we've had people from all walks of life. Like we had this one guy from New York, and he was like a home health aide, and he didn't even, well, I think he had a college degree, but he had trouble, like he hated his job and he just wanted to do something different.
Right.
And so he's actually one of our greatest success stories. I think right now he's making about 400,000 a year,
Nice.
when he was making less than 30,000. And so when he got his first cloud job, it may have taken him 4 months. So that's the training, and then like a month after the training, he started getting interviews, and then he eventually got his first cloud job, and he kind of blossomed from there. And really, we're an international company. Like we have students in Canada, we have students in Africa, we have students in Japan, students in Israel, and we don't really do any advertising or a lot of advertising. Like
Right.
our product has grown from word of mouth, right? And so I believe that when you treat people right, and you show them something amazing, they become evangelists for you. Like they'll go tell other people, and that's how we've been able to grow the business.
Nice. Beautiful, man. Beautiful success story. So now I know. You just tell us a little bit because I know you have an associate degree, right? Did you went and complete your bachelor's or no?
Nah, man, even getting
So,
my uh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that. So in order for you to go this far in the IT, so a degree is not necessary. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I think you need to understand the path, or so there's a saying that you begin with the end in mind, right? So if you're going to get in cloud, I think you need to be able to visualize where you eventually want to be.
Right.
And so to be an IC or individual contributor, you don't need a degree, right?
Okay.
In most cases, right?
Right.
Most cases in this space today, you see people with degrees who want to be in the management track, or
Right.
they're like you want people to report to you. Like if you're not an individual contributor, then you would get a degree, right? But if you just want to be an individual contributor, you don't want people reporting to you. You want to be technical, man. If you really just do projects, certifications, maybe internships, or maybe if you got a friend or somebody that has a business, and you say, hey, I'll be able to work for free as long as I can, show this on my resume or put something in GitHub. You don't necessarily need a degree to have a really great career today.
Nice. Okay. Well, for all of you guys that's scared or thinking that a degree is can prevent you from climbing the corporate ladder or having a successful career in IT, there you go. You have it. So now, uh, let's just talk about what are your thoughts on cloud innovation going forward. I know I've been grilling you with tough questions, right? But yeah, I'm just trying to get your thought because you've been in cloud for quite some time now. I started working with you in cloud, but my focus has been in cybersecurity lately. So I have diverted a little bit from the cloud space. So, in your opinion, what is the next cloud innovation, and what does it look like? I mean, you don't have to have the answer, but what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think everything today is AI. I mean,
Okay.
it's artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is like all these skills meshed together, right? And so to create this product. And so I think right now we're at the genesis of AI, right? And so when AI first kind of came on the scene, a lot of people are just using it as a chatbot, right? So I
Right.
only get text output from whatever model that I'm using. And
Right.
even I teach my students like, hey, it's okay to use artificial intelligence, but I tell them like the AI is only as good as the person using it. So even in its form today, the artificial intelligence relies on prompts or input from the user to create a curated answer, right?
Right.
But if you're not putting in high quality prompts or you're not giving it high quality information, the AI is only as good as the person using it. Now, I think that'll be evolving into where we have these agents, and the agents will actually go do these tasks for you, right? And so they will be autonomously doing specific tasks that you assign to them, right? And so I see that as the evolution of where we are today. And then I think a further evolution of that will be you'll have a AI agent, and it's going to be your team member, and it's going to be doing the work, and maybe you'll be orchestrating, and maybe you'll be maintaining these agents as it goes and does its work. But I think we're still just on the cusp of this big boom of artificial intelligence, and I think we're still trying to understand how do we interact with it, because really when you think about any technology, technology was created to make your life better, right? And so as we mature and as we understand more about this space, I think it's truly going to make your life better. And I think we're going to see more autonomy with this artificial intelligence. And I think it's going to move some of the roles that we have into maybe this space where you're interacting with these agents, and they're really truly like your coworkers in a sense.
Right. So, I've been a little rusty with Terraform. I used to be very, very good at Terraform, and I was working
I
on a personal.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was working on a personal project lately, so I got a little rusty. So I went to, Chat GPT, whatnot, and just I typed what I wanted Chat GPT to for me to do, and it generates this long Terraform code, right? So in Cloud After Dark, if a student comes with that, you ask them to do something, or you give them a little project, and they go to Chat GPT or one of these AI generators and just generate the code for you. Is that something that you recommend, or you just asking them to learn the hard way, understanding the in and out of Terraform before just going out there, venturing out and generating codes from ChatGPT or whatnot?
For me, it's a mix, right? So, we teach and then we give exercises to the students, right? But
Right,
my thing is like, if you get stuck on the exercise, yeah, go ahead and use the Gemini, or use the Chat GPT, or use the Grok, whatever tool you want to use. But don't use it as a crutch, right? Use it as a true assistant, right? Or a true employee, or a true study buddy, right? Just don't take the code and just paste it and say, hey, I'm finished with my work. No, if you're going to use this, you have to understand, first of all, what you want to build, right? And then
right,
you have to understand how to interact with the LLM, or whatever tool you're using. And so when they say, "Hey, I use a Gemini or a Chat GPT, or a Copilot," right?
right.
Okay, that's cool, but I want you to explain to me line by line exactly what this code is doing. And if you can't do that, then we need to go back and kind of fill in the gaps, because, like I said, when you use these agents, or you use these LLMs, they're only as good as the person using it. And if you don't have domain specific knowledge, the results that you give it may not work, or the results that you get back may not work, because you're not giving it the right data to go analyze and make a determination on. So
All right.
yeah.
Uh, good input, man. Good feedback. So obviously you passionate about let's take this whole conversation outside of tech and cloud and all this stuff, and just trying to get to know you at a personal level. You mentioned earlier that you're from South Carolina, and knowing you, I know that church is a big thing for you. How's health help you set boundaries or guide you in your success today?
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for you to come to church, man. I've been inviting you, but you won't come. I don't know what's up. But
I'll come
uh
through.
yeah, no, man, church, or faith, or God is really at the center of everything that I do. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me, me in a place of purpose. And so even though I worked at a Google, or, maybe I'm also working at a GitHub, I'm thankful for that, but I understand that that is a resource, right? God is my source, and He's the source of everything that I
Right,
have, and everything that I will hope to ever obtain.
right,
And so that keeps me humble, that keeps me grateful, and that just keeps me motivated. And I really want to see, like, not just be a success in like my professional, like, day-to-day job, but I also want to see how many people I can help. Like, I really believe that I've been put on this earth to help people. And so, and everybody has a gift, right? So I think when you're operating in your gift, I think you just automatically have one of the benefits of that is being able to help people. And I'm just here to see how many people I can help, and how many people I can help change their lives, or how many people I can help be better at their job. But ultimately, I'm just a servant, and I'm here to serve people, and that keeps me humble, and that keeps me grounded, and that keeps me grateful.
Beautiful, man. So outside of church, what do you do to keep yourself sane, man?
I'm from South Carolina, bro. I fish. Hey, we're gonna have a fish fry at my house when you come on down. I like to go to the range. I like to shoot guns. You say outside of tech, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So I play the piano, so I like tinkering with the music, the piano as well. I love to listen to music. Like, I listen to all kinds of music. Um, yeah, and I just love my family. Like, that's kind of what I do. Some people would consider me lame because I don't really go out. I'm not really on the scene like that. I kind of just keep to myself and my people in my circle.
Right,
But I want to be the type of person, like, if you're in my circle, um, I want to make you better, right? So just like I'm looking for people to make me better, I want to make them better. And
right,
so you can't get any bigger than the aspirations of the people that you're around. So I like to kind of stay around high quality people, and
right.
then we just help each other and we grow together. And I think that's what life is really all about, man.
That's good, man. So looking back, right, what piece of advice would you give your younger self, man, if they were starting out, just to
Bro, I'm 30 now, but man, I've had a very storied life, and I will say, um, what I would tell my younger self is, don't worry so much. Everything is going to be okay. Man, like, like, I've had obstacles. Like, my dad passed away when I was 15, and that was a major event in my life. It kind of shifted the way that I think. And then I had other people pass away. Like, my mom passed away in 2020, and that was like another defining moment in my life. And then, I'm trying to build a property, and I've had some trouble with the contractors on the property. Even working in the tech space, like, it's frustrating. Like,
right,
what we do is hard work. Like, some days you have easy days, but other days, like, stuff is hard, and it's easy to
right,
feel like everything is going wrong all at once, right?
right.
But that anxiety is real, especially in the tech space. But just a theme, just from work to life to personal relationships to professional relationships, everything is going to be okay. No matter where you're at in your journey, you still have enough time. No matter what problem you're facing, you're going to get through it. And then at the end of the day, you're going to be better because of it. So I would just tell my younger self, just relax sometimes, because everything is eventually going to be okay.
Nice. Now let's drill in a little bit. Draft a plan for someone who wants to break into to IT and starting from scratch. What would you do if you were just starting from scratch and just wanted to break into tech?
So IT is broad. Do you have a specific role? Maybe like DevOps or cloud engineer or
Doesn't matter. Just because obviously you cannot provide an answer that probably will help everybody, right? But just
yeah,
if
yeah.
they wanted to, if they see Emmanuel and they wanted to have the success or the career path that you have, draft a plan starting from scratch. What does it look like?
I would say become self-aware. First of all, understand what you like and what you don't like, because you don't want to end up in a job where you hate your job, and it's stressful every single day. Now, of course, you're going to be stressed out some days, but it's even worse when you hate your job, right? So I would say, understand yourself, become self-aware, know what you like, what you don't like. Also, I would lean into certifications, right? If you're going to be an individual contributor, you may not necessarily need a degree, right? And college is expensive. I think the best university right now is YouTube University, right? You can learn for free. And so podcasts like the Opportunity Room, right, is a great place to get started. Also, I would say find you a mentor, right? So the mistakes that your mentor made kind of prolong their journey, but if you can learn from their mistakes, you can get to where you want to go a lot faster. So I would say also find a mentor. And then, once you find a mentor, once you understand where you want to go in tech, I would just say never give up. Like sometimes you're going to have to knock on a couple doors, especially in today's job market, to kind of get where you want to go, but never give up. Like I remember when I was at AT&T, I was applying everywhere.
Right,
Nobody would pick me up, bro. And I
right,
think we've had this conversation, and I was like,
right,
doggone, like nobody gonna let me in.
right.
But all it takes is one yes to change your entire life. So I think if you're persistent, and if you don't give up, I think that's the key to success. Even Martin Luther King said, "Hey, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you got to keep moving forward." And so I think that speaks to us even today. And so you may feel like, man, tech is a big industry, and with AI, I feel like I'm so far behind. But you'll never get up to speed if you never just take that first step. So I would say, encourage you just to keep going until somebody opens that door for you.
Beautiful to say. You couldn't say it any better, man. So Python, Terraform, or Bash? Which one would you pick, man?
Python too. I mean, so they're different. They kind of do different things. So if I wanted to use an object oriented programming language, I mean, there's a couple you can use, but I would prefer Python, right?
Right,
Infrastructure as code. There's a couple tools you can use. AWS has Cloud Formation,
right.
and there's some other tools. I think Cloud Formation sucks, but I would use
There is.
Terraform. Right, right. So I think Terraform. I think there's like Pulumi or there's another IAC tool, but I like Terraform. It's cloud agnostic, and so I like Terraform. Now for automation, if I'm building like a pipeline, I'm going to use Bash. Right, Bash is easy to pick up. You don't have to learn the object-oriented part of programming. It's really referred to as a scripting language. It's really powerful. I built some great software with Bash, so I would choose all three. It depends on what I'm using it for.
So are you a reader, or audiobook reader, or reader, or just get inspired through different resources?
Yeah, so I read a lot of documentation, and so when you speak about high velocity, like even where I work now, like we're releasing new features, like multiple features a week, and so you have to read, right? But
Okay.
my consumption of choice would probably be videos. I like to look at videos. Um, so yeah, I would say a mix of videos, and then I like to listen to podcasts as well. So videos, podcasts, and then reading as well.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. All of the certification that I ever gotten this past 3 to 4 years, all of them were based out of videos.
Yeah, for sure.
I truly encourage that, man. So just one last word for our audience, man, and we just forever grateful that we were able to sit down with you and you share so many gems today with us, man.
Oh, you want me to have the last word?
Absolutely, man. For our audience, one last word, man, before we let you
Uh,
go.
well, before I go, I want to say, bro, I'm proud of you, man. Like I've seen you evolved into like this juggernaut, bro, in the IT space. So thank you for being true to yourself and who you authentically are. And man, congratulations on all of your wins. And so also what you're doing, I think is amazing. Um, Having this podcast, learning from people who are maybe in spaces that you want to get into is amazing. I don't think we do enough of this. So thank you for that. I'm not going to boost you up too much because I know how you like to get, but I will say, man, thank you for this. But also, I don't know, man, I would just say follow your dreams, whatever those dreams are, whether you want to be in IT, whether you want to be a pilot, whether you want to be the next president of the United States, right? Just follow your dream and just never give up. And if you never give up, you'll always win. So that's all I got.
Man, thank you so much, man. I you definitely shaped my journey. Because I'm forever grateful that I'm here. I came here back in 2000 with $1,000 in a dream, and I
Wow.
kept pushing.
Wow.
My journey, I crossed you along my path, and you totally changed my perspective, boosted my confidence, and changed the trajectory of my life. And we keep still learning and keep pushing. That's just who we are, and that's just what life has for us. So thank you again, Emmanuel, man, for sharing your journey, man, your insight, about cloud and your passion, how you mentor, giving back to next generation. You're changing many lives, man.
Thank
Changing
you,
many
bro.
lives. And so, to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, share, and leave a review so we can bring people like Emmanuel to share their stories, man. This is the opportunity room, man. This is Amadou Cole, your host. Until next time, man. Peace.